Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Zone YouTube channel. And once again, Premier League predictions. We're just going every second day now with the prediction videos. But massive weekend of football to come. Teams needing to bounce back. Some big games in particular on Saturday lunchtime with Aston Villa and Arsenal and everything in between. We are back once again. And I tell you what, didn't go well midweek. I'm recording this before the Manchester United West Ham game. So after 9 games, only picking up 3 of our prediction points. Back-to-back weeks of 3. So awful. Taking our total to 88 on the season, obviously with 1 game to play. So hopefully my prediction for the United West Ham game comes true because we are struggling. So needing to bounce back here. As I said, some massive games to come from this weekend's action. Villa and Arsenal, Bournemouth and Chelsea. 2 massive games on Saturday. And then some teams needing to bounce back playing on Sunday as well. With that being said, let's jump straight into it. The Premier League prediction show for Matchday 15. Villa Park's location, Saturday lunchtime fixture. Villa play host to Arsenal. What a game this one is going to be. 2 of the most informed teams in the Premier League right now. Aston Villa coming off the back of a crazy 4-3 come from behind victory versus Brighton. 2 goals down to 4-2 up and eventually running out 4-3 winners. But they've shown once again different avenues to their game. And what was a real great sight to see for Villa fans was seeing Ollie Watkins bagging in that game there. 2 great finishes, find the back of the net. Morgan Rogers has found some form as well. So that front line is starting to click. They started the season off very solid defensively. They're now adding goals into their game, and this side are looking very, very formidable. So once again, look to Rogers and Watkins to take the game to this Arsenal back line. With out Gabriel, Saliba's been hit or miss recently. There's a real chance to get at this Arsenal back line, put them under pressure, get going from the start. And we think back to 2 years ago, Aston Villa did beat Arsenal during this sort of period of the season, and that's when Arsenal started to just fall off a little bit in their Premier League title run. So massive game for Aston Villa here versus Arsenal. The Gunners, well, they were just clinical. 2-0 win versus Brentford last time out. Far from their best football, but once again, getting over the line and most importantly, keeping a clean sheet. In this game here, however, Bukayo Saka seems to be the man recently. He's always so important for Arsenal, but recently goals and assists have come just easy for him. They're just falling onto his lap. So look to him yet again to be a key player, dictating the tempo and speed of the game, making things happen in the final third and being that player to deliver output. If he gets going, especially on that right-hand side, versus Luca Digne, there's a real chance there for Arsenal to exploit that fullback matchup and get balls into the box and score from Bukayo Saka's work. Look, we come to this game with 2 great sides. Villa winning 6 straight. Arsenal unbeaten in their last 18 games. 2 teams in fabulous form. Unai Emery always has a real grudge against Arsenal after what happened when he was in charge there. So we're in for a massive grudge match here. I think Villa start the better side. I think the energy and the intensity will be there with the home crowd behind them. But I think what happens in this game is what we've seen a lot in recent years with Arsenal. They grind it out. They endure some of the pain early on. And I just think right now they're just too dangerous in the final third. And they'll get that all pivotal and important goal. I've got an Arsenal 1-0 win away from home at Aston Villa. It's going to be a tight old game, but Arsenal's front line too much for Villa to handle. We shift our focus to the south coast for Bournemouth and Chelsea. 2 teams desperately needing to get a victory. For Bournemouth, it is 5 straight games without a win off the back of a 1-0 home loss to Everton last time out. Once again, the midfield not good enough, and then as such for me, the focus does go on to Alex Scott's in midfield. Got that England call up, has played fantastic in the first 8 games of the season. But what we've seen from him in recent weeks has not been good enough. Hasn't protected that back four enough. Hasn't owned the centre of the park. And as such, Bournemouth have looked vulnerable. They've looked gettable. And they haven't created enough opportunities for me to be that dangerous side. So look to Alex Scott to lift his game if Bournemouth want to be successful in this match. For Chelsea, it was humbling. It was embarrassing. It showed the 2 sides to this Chelsea unit in a 3-1 away loss at Leeds United. This season, we have seen them take it to the best teams in the Premier League, but then lose games to some of the promoted sides or some of the weaker sides in the Premier League, and they just can't keep going on like this. So they need to bounce back here in this game versus a very vulnerable Bournemouth side. And for me, it's going to be all about the returning Reece James. Whether he plays at right back or plays in midfield, he adds that confidence, that coolness, and that calmness to this Chelsea side. When he's on the ball, he commands space. He can find the pass. He can hold the ball up. He can play quickly. He just knows to match the energy of the game and gets Chelsea ticking in the centre of the park. So he will be so vital returning to this Chelsea side. When you look at this two matchup, Bournemouth, no clean sheet in the last 5 games, no wins in the last 5 games. Chelsea yet to lose to Bournemouth in their last 8 matchups. It screams a Chelsea win. I'm going to go back Chelsea in this game here. Many teams have struggled to go to the vitality in recent seasons, but Chelsea have found no problems. That continues here for me. 3-1 Chelsea win on the road. They get back to winning ways and keep that push to go up the Premier League table. An intriguing matchup on Saturday as Everton play host to Nottingham Forest. Everton coming off one of their most character-defining wins on the road, a 1-0 victory away at the Vitality. They come into this game here with some confidence they can take that form and extend it here versus Forest. In that game, Alcaraz was fantastic in the number 10. He seems to have made that spot his own and look to him in this game once again to be a threat and to be an option to try and break down that Forest backline. Nottingham Forest, under the new management of Sean Dyche, have been all about defence and clean sheets. Alcaraz could have that X factor and that talent to break down that back four and to deliver some opportunities or goals for Everton in the final third. Whereas Nottingham Forest, it was a really poor performance, but a win nonetheless. 1-0 away at Wolves. A game that was tough to watch at times, but they got the result in the end. And for me, against the Everton side, that also is quite pragmatic and quite hard to break down. I'm looking to the transitional play of Nicolas Dominguez and Dan Ndoye on the flanks. A Sean Dyche system is built on sitting in deep, built on being pragmatic and hitting on the counter-attack, and Nottingham Forest have been known in the last 18 months to be one of the best counter-attacking sides due to their pace on the flanks. So look to Dan Ndoye and Nicolas Dominguez to try and exploit that speed in transition to get at this Everton backline. Two teams in some fantastic form. Everton have only scored 6 goals in their past 5 games. They've only lost 1 game. And for Nottingham Forest, they've won 4 out of their last 5 games, keeping 3 clean sheets in that time there. A battle of 2 great backlines, a battle of 2 great pragmatic managers. Who comes out on top? I think Nottingham Forest have what it takes. I believe in Sean Dyche's side. They've got a lot of confidence right now. They're playing some great football away from home. They work hard. They are good without the football, they're good with the football. And as such, I see them getting a 2-1 victory away from home here versus Everton. We're at the Etihad for Manchester City and Sunderland. And once again, this one could turn out to be City off the back of a 9-goal thriller versus Fulham midweek. It shows the promise and the excitement of their attacking players, but the weaknesses and the vulnerabilities are coming through once again in terms of their defensive liabilities. Do they fix up in this game here versus Sunderland? Well, I think they definitely have to. In this game, you look to Phil Foden. He has been on a fabulous run so far this season. Already 15 goal contributions in all competitions. Has been that link and that spark for City in recent weeks. And I think he is going to be massive for them making things tick in the final third and getting the better of a Sunderland backline that's looked fantastic away from home this season. So the ball will go through Phil Foden. Good things come through Phil Foden. And as such, he's going to be the man for Man City in this game here. For Sunderland, it was a really hard-fought 1-1 draw away at Anfield versus Liverpool last time out, but they'll be kicking themselves. Opportunities to go and win that game at Anfield and to boost their credentials even more this season. As it stands, though, still intact with the top 6 and playing some great football away from home. For me, Mukiele and Reinildo, the 2 fullbacks, are going to be vital. Jeremy Doku, Foden, Bernardo Silva, Ryan Shirky have all been operating in wide spaces and have been in some fantastic touch. City, when they get the ball out wide and start to play with some width, look at their most expansive and look at their most dangerous. So Reinildo alongside Mukiele have to be switched on, have to be touch tight and limit the opportunity for City to stretch this Sunderland back line, protect that back line, limit crosses into the box, and you have a big advantage in this game here. For City, they've scored 12 in their last 5. They're the second best home record in the Premier League. They come to this game with belief they'll outscore you. For Sunderland, though, away from home, they've struggled. Only scored 4 goals away from home this season, but have only conceded 7. So they're really solid away from home in terms of keeping clean sheets or keeping games nice and ugly. They'll scrap this one out, but I think we're in for a high-scoring affair. City this season seem to just ooze goals. I've gone with the City 4-2 victory here. Sunderland will take the game to City, but City too much talent, and they'll come out on top. We remain up north and we move our attention to St James's Park. Newcastle United and Burnley up next. Newcastle, in the end, be kicking themselves. A 2-2 draw versus Tottenham Hotspur in the midweek fixture. They led twice in that game and let Tottenham back in the game twice. Been a real theme of their season. Every time you think they've turned a corner, they're back down to reality. A massive chance though to kick on in this game versus Burnley. And for me, I'm looking to the two fullbacks. Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall are both back in the starting lineup, and they have brought a new energy to this Newcastle United side, providing solidity defensively, but most importantly, being springboards to the attacking football, adding further width with overlapping runs in the final third, and adding a different dimension to Newcastle United's attack, something they might need against a Burnley low block. So look to those two to have a massive impact in this game, not only defensively, but more importantly, going forward for Newcastle United. Whereas for Burnley, it was an unfortunate 1-0 loss at home versus Crystal Palace. They were the better team over long periods of time, but unable to find the back of the net. It's really been a theme for them this season. At St James's Park on the weekend, it's going to be a tough old time. They're going to be backs against the wall. So as such, Axel Tuanzebe alongside Maxime Esteve are going to be very important. Keep Nicolas Voltemada quiet, limit the chances from the wide players cutting inside, and you have an opportunity to take this game to Newcastle United. They haven't been at their clinical best in recent weeks, so if those two centre-halves can stay switched on, we might have a game on our hands here. With that being said, though, Newcastle have won the 4 previous matchups between these two sides here, and I see that one continuing. Newcastle, not their best football, but they'll get a victory. 2-0 here over Burnley. Not good enough to match Newcastle away from home. We have a London derby on our hands as Tottenham Hotspur play host to Brentford. And what a game this one will turn out to be. Spurs obviously have struggled a lot this season at home, but another character-defining 2-2 comeback draw away at Newcastle midweek. I thought it was going to be a cricket score in that game there, but once again, they showed us how they can compete with the best teams away from home. But can they do it at home? Things are so important. Mohamed Kudus is on the ball as much as possible. He has consistently made things happen for Tottenham, and in particular at home, has produced some magical moments. So get him on the football, let him go to work, and let him challenge this Brentford backline. For Brentford, another disappointment away from home, but they took the game to Arsenal. Only the 2-0 loss away at the Emirates. They'll take some confidence into this game here that they can take it to the best team in the country and create some chances versus the best backline potentially in world football. For me, Jordan Henderson has a massive role to play in this game. We know how pragmatic and how defensive the Tottenham Hotspur midfield is. If Jordan Henderson can be that disruptor and can be that facilitator in terms of Brentford moving the ball forward, they could have a foothold in this game here and the ability to make things happen versus a very, very nervy Spurs side when they play at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs haven't won in their last 5 games. That's the key stat for me. They've conceded 15 goals in that time there. But for Brentford, though, only 1 win this season in 7 away games. The battle of who's worse, Tottenham at home or Brentford away, I really don't know. I think we're in for a tight game, but I think, though, the pressure on Spurs will make the players come and perform at their very best, and I see them getting a positive result. Tottenham 2, Brentford 0, Spurs getting back to winning ways at home and finally keeping a clean sheet. We have a northern battle as Leeds United play host to Liverpool in the next game on Sunday. Leeds, well, they were massive, superb, and they pounced on every single mistake Chelsea made to win that game 3-1 at home midweek. They look to carry that confidence and that form over to this game here. And for me, the standouts was that midfield trio. Ayo Tanaka, fabulous, alongside Ampadu and Gruev, and now look to take that energy into this game here versus Liverpool. Liverpool's midfield this season has been hit or miss, hot and cold. And I think for Leeds United, if they can win that midfield battle, they can throw their weight around, start dictating the game in the centre of the park, dominating possession in there. There's a real chance for them to get a positive result versus the Liverpool side, who were sluggish, poor, not good enough versus Sunderland last time out. It was a 1-1 draw at home. They did have moments to win the game, but they equally had moments they could have lost it. I think for me, as I said, the midfield has to stand up. Alexis McAllister, alongside Ryan Gravenberch, have not been at their best this season. Season 24-25, they're at their peak. We haven't seen anything near that this season. If they want to get a positive result at a hostile environment like Ellen Road, those two need to be switched on. They need to be much more physical. They need to command the space in the centre of the park. They need to control the midfield battle. They need to control the football, keep in possession for longer periods of time, and facilitate the attacking players rather than just giving the ball away or playing sideways. Massive game for those two required if Liverpool want to be positive here. Leeds, well, 11 of their 14 points this season have been picked up at home. Played fantastic at home this season. Obviously beat Chelsea, have taken it to teams like Spurs, and they've looked very, very good at home. Whereas for Liverpool, they've only scored 4 goals in their past 5 games, despite being this team that's spent all this money on attacking players. They haven't found that edge in the final third. So massive game required for Liverpool to get back on track. I think they do. Maybe blind faith here, but I think they do get back on track. They've got too many good players to lose too many games in a row and drop too many points. Liverpool 2, Leeds United 1 for me. The Reds just grinding their way over the line here versus Leeds United. Focus shift to Sussex for Brighton and West Ham in our next game. Brighton playing out one of the craziest games midweek, a 4-3 loss at home to Aston Villa, but losing to one of the most informed teams in the world right now. So they can take some confidence that they took the game to them for longer periods of time, but they want to be much more solid defensively. That has been their calling card in their recent good run of form. But in this game here versus a West Ham side that are quite pragmatic, are quite defensively sound, they're going to look to the wide players. Maxime de Kuiper alongside Yankuba Minteh have been fantastic across the last 2 matches. They'll look to them yet again to try and stretch the West Ham back line, create some opportunities in wide spaces. And we know when Brighton play with wit and they play with speed, they look like one of the most formidable attacks in the Premier League. So if those two are at their very best, watch out West Ham. For the Hammers, obviously, they lost 2-0 to Liverpool on the weekend. Well, recording this video, they're yet to play Manchester United, but they'll need to come to this game looking solid defensively. Brighton play their best attacking football when they're at the Amex, and they're going to be going from minute 1 here for me. So it's up to the 2 fullbacks. Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Malik Hadji Diouf at fullback are going to have to be touched tight. Limit Maxime de Kuipers and limit Yankuba Minteh's threat. Take the space away from them to run into and force them onto their wrong foot. These 2 fullbacks are great one-on-one defensively, and if they can do that and match that job and do their job really well, one of Brighton's strengths are taken away from them and they become quite one-dimensional. So massive gains required from those 2 fullbacks here. It's going to be a battle of 2 sides that have found some good form in recent weeks. As I said, Brighton, clean sheets and defence has been their calling card. 3 clean sheets in their last 5 games has seen them pick up 3 victories. And for West Ham, 9 goals scored in their past 5 games has shown that counter-attacking, pragmatic style of football has worked for them recent weeks. I think we're in for a back and forth game, but I think Brighton's quality ends up coming out on top. Brighton 3, West Ham United 1. The Seagulls getting the job done at home. We're in West London for another London derby in the next game here. Fulham playing host to Crystal Palace. 2 teams that have been a little bit hit and miss so far this season. For Fulham, it was a crazy game. A 9-goal thriller, but a loss nevertheless versus Manchester City last time out. But they're showing they're getting much better in the final third. That's going to be important versus Crystal Palace back line. But more important for me is the midfield area. Sander Berge alongside Sasa Lukic are physical. They're aggressive. They can get the game back on Fulham's terms. And that's going to be massive in this game here to disrupt the patterns and the flows which Crystal Palace like to play with in the centre of the park. I think they could single-handedly get this game back on track for Fulham versus a very, very dangerous Palace side at times that have gone to Craven Cottage at times and played some really, really fabulous football. So look to those 2 midfield to try and get at Crystal Palace, disrupt them, be aggressive and put them off their game. Very, very important role for the 2 in midfield to play for Fulham. For Crystal Palace, it was a hard-fought, ugly, scrappy 1-0 win away from home at Burnley last time out. Once again, far from their best football, but getting results and into the top 7. So massive confidence for this Crystal Palace side under Oliver Glasner. For me, it's pretty simple. In recent weeks, Daniel Munoz has done everything for the side, creating opportunities, scoring opportunities, being a threat, and then covering off defensively. He, on his own, is going to be the X factor in this game that decides the outcome. If he is involved in the build-up play, if he is involved in and around that box, Crystal Palace run out winners. But if he is quiet or kept quiet by the Fulham side, Crystal Palace's threat all of a sudden goes from 90, 100% down to sort of the 60s, 70s because he has been the heartbeat of the attack and the heartbeat of the defence for Crystal Palace in recent weeks. Daniel Munoz, keep an eye on him in this game here because he could single-handedly get Crystal Palace over the line. Fulham, as I said, have returned to form recently. They picked up 3 wins from their last 5 games. Crystal Palace have only scored 5 goals in their past 5 games. So contrasting form in recent times. I think both the 2 sides cancel each other out. Fulham, despite being better in recent weeks in front of goal, are far from their best in the final third. And so are Crystal Palace, missing too many opportunities and not creating enough. So for me, I'm going with a ball 1-1 draw in this game here. As I said, both the 2 teams cancel each other out, and for me, running out of legs across the 90 minutes. The Monday night fixture sees Manchester United play host to Wolves. United, obviously, as I'm recording this, haven't played West Ham yet, but last time they played, they beat Crystal Palace 2-1 away from home last time out. Consecutive home games for the side to build some confidence, and with a lot of ins and out and inconsistency with injuries, you look to the ever-available players. Joshua Zirkzee and Brian Mbeumo up top. They're going to be very important in this game here. We'll also have their back up against the wall. United at home, a lot more possession, a lot more chances. Can these two be clinical in front of goal? For United, so important they score inside the first 30 to 35 minutes. Get the game on their terms, get the confidence in and around the squad, and get that crowd backing you in. So really, really important first half an hour for Mbeumo and for Zirkzee to put the ball into the back of the net. For Wolves, disappoint once again. A 1-0 home loss at Nottingham Forest. I thought that was the banker. I thought that was a chance for Rob Edwards to get up and going at Wolves and get the side's first victory of the season. But if you can't win there, I doubt they can win away at Old Trafford. It's going to take a lot for them, but Totti, Agbadou, alongside Mosquera at the back, the three centre-halves, going to be at their very best. Wolves look their best when they're solid defensively and can make things happen in transition. If they're hard to beat at the back, they're often scoring goals up top. I don't know why the correlation's there, but it is. When Wolves went on their good run this time last year, through the Christmas period, it was built off defence, it was built off clean sheets, and Totti, Mosquera and Agbadou have to bring that in this game versus Manchester United. Wolves with a clean sheet in the last 10, United scoring 10 in their last 5. It's really David versus Goliath type stuff here. I do back United in. 2-1 winners here for me at home. They continue this solid run of form. And for Wolves, more discomfort, more losses, and an uncomfortable truth that the first win in the Premier League might be not very close at all. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's all 10 Premier League games wrapped up for the weekend and predicted. Matchday 15 already here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What's the game you're most excited about? Who are some of the key players that come from the weekend? And what are your thoughts on my predictions? And let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, guys, smash a like on it, subscribe, press that post notification bell so you know we upload every day here in Player Zone Footmas in the run into Christmas. With that being said, have a great day. Enjoy the weekend football action. And I'll see you guys in the video or podcast very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.